party in Southeast, way back in the day in the 60s when it was routine for people just to show up at parties. And I always felt that our meeting was divine because I wasn't supposed to be at that party. The party that I was supposed to be at was up on George Avenue. We got word that it was canceled. And so me and 2 or 3 people from my hometown in Pennsylvania, we said, oh, there's a party over on Raleigh Avenue Southeast. Let's go over there. So we went over to Vincent's house, and I was young and very quiet and unassuming. And Pierpont and his friend were standing across the room, and he came over and he asked me to dance. And I told him no, I wouldn't dance with him. And I said, you're not going to show me up. I don't do all that DC dancing. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, they ended up taking us home because we had caught a cab over there. And my roommate and I, we invited him in for late coffee. And then after that, he called a few times, and I kept saying no. And so finally he called, and I said, okay. And once we went out there first time, that was it, right?
Yeah, that's true. But she just said that sounds right. Everything she said sounds right. She took me through the ringer quite a few times. But other than that, we connected as a result of that party, because she kept on saying she didn't know how to dance. And here I am from a DC boy. That's all we wanted to do is dance. We used to dance and sweat and hit, So I begged her to come out on the floor about 3 times. She finally got out of there. And after that dance for about 3 minutes, she said, 2 minutes, she got away. She said, let me get away from this guy, because he really could dance. So
I hadn't learned the DC hand dance yet.
Right. So that's, I'm just adding to what she had just stated. But that is true. That's exactly how we met. And since at that time I was working, and I thought I'd check her out because she's kind of cute, and she didn't use a whole lot of poor English as far as I was concerned. Because,
I didn't use profanity.
Yes.
He liked that.
No, I didn't like it. It was just the point that some of the people in D.C. That was our ongoing everyday livelihood. Not nasty, but some of the words that we would use. And she was a little more. She used the word "gosh" one time, and that knocked me off. I said, I guess I better take care of this sister. If she talked about "gosh," I said, whoa.
But when we started dating, we saw that he was a real decent guy, and we knew that it was good for us. We've been married since in May of this year. It'll be 54 years. We renewed our vows on our 25th wedding anniversary, actually on a cruise ship with another couple who also was celebrating their 25th wedding anniversary. This is exciting. So I invited him to go home to my hometown, Uniontown, Pennsylvania, to meet my parents. And we went out to the Veterans of Foreign War party, and we were out on the dance floor. And when I came back to our table, and our friends were sitting around, lo and behold, there is this little engagement ring case there on the table at my seat. And I opened it up, and that was the way he proposed, right there.
Yeah, I moved over and I kissed her on the cheek. I said, guess what? And I pointed at the little box, and she started hollering and screaming, and in the little small town that where she came from, when she started hollering and screaming, everybody in the whole vets heard her voice and stopped. And so I kissed her on the cheek and said, okay, baby, how's that? Or something to that effect. And she said, yes, yes, yes. And she started putting the ring on. I said, wait a minute. So she put the ring on, and that was it.
Generally we go on a trip somewhere. We've done cruises or go to some of our favorite places like Hilton Head. A few times it's just been, lately with COVID, it's been like we home with maybe some champagne, So, but yeah.
Just to add on to that, the majority of the time, we've been on about 9 or 10 cruises. And it seems as though they fall into place sometime when we are at one of those anniversaries. Now, I do want to add something to her. My wife is a very unique person in that on our anniversaries, she's always willing to party. And so we've had at least 5 or 6 anniversaries and birthdays that she's gotten slick on me, so to speak, and hid it from me. And then the last minute, I would walk in the door and everybody said, "Surprise!"
Yeah, I like surprises.
So with that in mind, the connection is the fact that I'm never surprised. She come up with everything.
It keeps it interesting. Marriage is work. But first of all, we have God in our lives. He is our center. He is our head. We also, when we do get mad at each other over the years, we've never really called each other out of their names. We've always been respectful, even though we really get mad sometimes and have heated arguments. But we don't really hold grudges, because at the end of the day, I know that he's my best friend. And we talk it out. I mean, he'll sit down. He says, "Oh, we need to talk. And let me tell you, you said such and such thing. This upset me," and I do the same thing. And we just talk through it and we kind of work it out.
I just want to amplify a lot of that. In addition to that, when I was growing up here in D.C., both of my parents were from Saluda, South Carolina, and my father used to say when they came up here in 36 or something like that, he'd always say, "Never go to bed angry." Mm-hmm. And that's always been penetrated in my mind, that if we couldn't solve it now, of course I want to add something else to it. We've had some debates, and I've gone to the basement. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of my buddies, they say go to the basement. And I've gone to the basement and sit down and had maybe a small wine or something like that. But oftentimes, I truly believe, as someone that trying to avoid conflict, is that we need to take a break. And if you take 25, 30 minutes, generally speaking, you can work it out and try to look at the pros and cons of the conflict and try to resolve it.
We raised 2 children. Our oldest is Anthony. Tony, he and his wife, Vicki, have blessed us with 2 beautiful granddaughters. They live in Maryland Suburban, and the oldest daughter just graduated from college this past year, and that's Deja, and the younger daughter, Jada, she will graduate in another year. And then we have Patricia, our daughter, who doesn't live that far. She's in D.C. So our children have made us very proud. They grew up here in this home. And I pretty much think that when it came to parenting, we were pretty much the same. I mean, again, they grew up in the church, and so we had certain values, and they had chores, they had things that they had to abide by. There were certain things that we weren't going to allow in the house. I can remember when the kids, I guess Tony and Tricia, they were here, and they were teenagers by this time, and I don't know, they had something on TV that wasn't quite kosher or whatever, and Dad came in and said, "Oh no, we're not having this in our house."
Jokes, some of the comedy, comedy jams, and some of them were just risque.
For a teenager, right?
Richard Pryor, things of that nature, no good.
Back in the day, even though we may have enjoyed it, but not them at that age. But I think we were pretty much in harmony.
Yeah, we were. I think in addition to harmony, we were kind of lenient too, because we wanted them to get the whole thing that a lot of people in the black community about is have your children not experience what you had to experience growing up. So both of them went to Catholic schools. We were going to.
They went to public school early on.
Then they went to Catholic school. So they benefited from the fact that we could afford it, and both of us have always worked. Both of us have very good jobs. So consequently, we kind of we have two young children that benefited from being in an environment where they were loved, and they could easily see that.
Mm-hmm. For me, again, I feel that you need to be spiritually grounded. You got to have God. You got to have prayer in your life. Communications, I think, is very important. I know some couples where the husband doesn't communicate or she doesn't communicate. You can't get anything resolved that way. Respecting each other. You have to respect each other. I genuinely like my husband. You have to like people, because when you like someone, look at him. So when you like someone, it's so much easier, to get along. And then you have to be forgiven. You have to learn how to forgive. You got to learn how to say I'm sorry. And then I think one of the other things for me, and I think this is really important, I tell myself, I know I have my habits, he has his. And I tell myself, I can't help myself and more so, and he probably can't help himself with some of the stuff that happens with him. And so you learn to be what you call tolerant and understanding. And so I recognize that as I continue to age, I just want peace. We both just want peace and harmony in our life. And so that's what we strive for.
Just add just a little bit to that, because everything she said was a script. We already written it down.
That's not
No.
He's a comedian, really. He needs to have his own comedy show.
I must digress just one second. I think marriages are made in heaven. That's what they say a long time ago. Well, the situation is this. When my wife talks about grounded in religion to a certain extent, I think that's the one that we both appreciated throughout this marriage, is the fact that I know she believes in Almighty, and I do too. And so consequently, some of the conflicts we may have or may have had was kind of grounded on the fact that we could forgive and forget. Mm-hmm. The major point, I think, in adding to marriage is the fact that what my wife said originally, respect. Oftentimes, especially since I'm older now, since both of us, we used to do a lot of counseling to people in the workplace and in our private lives, in our firm, is that we just want people to generate the idea of being human to one another, mm-hmm. and respecting one another. Mm-hmm. And last but not least, they have to conciliate. They have to find a way to just resolve disputes, and everybody doesn't have to win. If I had to do it again, would I marry my wife, young sister that I love? Yes, I would.
I would too. I would marry him again.
Where do you come to get all